aka Geeks.
Hey everybody, welcome to AKA Geeks. This is our The Walking Dead review. I'm Sean, with me I have Lynn.
What's up, everybody?
Alright, so this week's episode, episode 14, is titled Still Gotta Mean Something, and I'll read a little bit about it from IMDb. A Heaps prisoner makes a discovery. Carol searches for someone in the nearby forest. Rick and Morgan find themselves in a company of strangers. So those are the three main storylines that we were talking about a little while ago about this episode. You're talking about the prisoner is Negan, then Carol's searching for Henry, and you've got Rick and Morgan figuring things out. Before we get into that, I wanted to mention a couple other things real quick. There's some conversations going on at the beginning of the episode that kind of let us know where some of the other characters are at. You have a conversation between Tara and Daryl, and Tara kind of tells him essentially like, you know what, I'm done with this now.
Yeah, I'm over it.
I'm over it now. I'm going to keep on moving on. And if you want to do that, that's on you. But it seems like it's more going to be for your personal vendetta, not
for me.
Not for the better good, right? Not for me. Are you? So they've come to this point, like we were talking about last year, where they kind of flip, and now Tara's come to terms with everything that's happened with Denise, and Daryl's still dwelling on it.
Yeah.
Are you still at the same point with this one right now?
Yeah. I'm glad that they sort of squashed it a little bit with her doing this, but at the same time, the flip was so like abrupt that it just doesn't make sense for any of this to be needed, considering this is how he was telling her to react the whole time. You know, and so I'm like,
she kind of mentions that too when they're talking. She says, "You told me to,
let it go,
or whatever, not to kill him or whatever." Remember? Yeah. So she even mentions it, kind of little meta. Maybe they're trying to apologize for that flip. I don't know.
I don't know.
So, yes.
I don't think so.
So that was one conversation. I'm happy it's kind of squashed now because we know now where Tara stands. Now we just got to see how Daryl's going to act to this, whether or not he's going to use his frustrations that he's assumed from Tara's lover Denise being killed. You know what I mean? Like he's assumed those. He doesn't, or is he going to let things go after Dwight has gone to the point where Dwight's going to truly help them, get rid of Negan?
Right.
So the other conversation we were talking about that happens right there is concerning Daryl and some of the other people, Rosita, and they're all talking about what's going on, and they can't afford another attack that big as previously because they're out of bullets. Daryl says, well, if we're this low on bullets, they got to be out on bullets. And then Rosita says, hey, they got our bullet, man. Oh shoot, they're probably making bullets right now. So then they actually go and spy, and they see that Eugene is there, putting together this team to make bullets. Does this? What does this do for you? This whole scene with this conversation and them.
This is like a complete duh. What the fuck were you? Why were you never thinking about this prior? I mean, you confronted Eugene when you went to attack, the sanctuary. He just slipped your mind. Whatever.
And it's like at the time when the last few times they've seen Eugene, he's been on Negan's side.
Full
so it's like
Negan's side.
Yeah. So it almost seems like this reminder is for, I guess, the viewers. I think.
Yeah, it's more for us. Like, hey, we forgot that they have our bullet guy.
Yeah, but even though they've been showing him in the bullet, like making bullets or trying to, so that seems more for fan service or to remind you that they know. That they figured it out or they remember whatever.
Yeah.
So to me, it was like, okay, at least they're trying to keep other characters involved, but again, no weight to the situation really. There was already weight to the situation.
That to me was a throwaway conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
A time filler.
The big thing is when it starts off. So the three major paths we have is Carol and Morgan are talking about Henry and saving Henry, going to look for him. Morgan goes out to supposedly look for Henry, but he's actually going out to look for the saviors that escaped.
Yeah.
Carol says she's going out to look for Henry, but initially she's actually looking looking out for Morgan to make sure he doesn't flip his lid. And then there is a point where she mentions this, and then they go their separate ways, and that's when Carol kind of fully embraces what she's doing. And it takes her back, in my opinion, and then they kind of mentioned it in the after show, is that she's going back to this point where...
When she lost Sophia.
So I want to jump to the point where Carol finds Henry. How were you emotionally? Did this one do anything for you?
I thought it was it's like, I've seen this before, and then I was like, this is where Rick found Sophia underneath, in the tree.
We're not supposed to know that, but that is.
Yeah, I'm like, it's like just swap her out with Rick.
Yeah. Swap
Henry out with Sophia, and it's that same exact scene to almost a T.
Just reverse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Emotionally, I was really happy to see Carol kind of embrace that side.
Yeah.
Like that she hasn't had because Sophia died. And so now she's doing this.
The only kid that she's only been close to was Carl. That's the only one outside of anybody that she's dealt close with.
Look how she treated Sam. She threatened to kill him if he talked, and she gave him a cookie, whatever, to keep him shut up. So I mean, she's totally ignored this side of her for however many seasons. That was season 2. 6 seasons now, almost.
But at the same time, this worries me.
That she's going soft, or what?
No, not that she's going soft as a character. Could she be the next
because
spiritual leader? Yeah, because now she's got her motherly instincts back.
And they're gonna kill her because she's now going to be that.
That's where I was going with that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually what happens.
Because the conversation she had with him, with Morgan, you brought me back. Which Morgan hears multiple times.
Yeah, when you have that one character that is clearly the heart or whatever,
the conscience.
Yep. Yeah. So, I'm thinking that because she still has that rough side that she knows how to survive, she's only going to get softer towards the kid aspect of trying to save the kid's life. I'm hoping that she still saves that has that rough edge where she knows how to survive things.
Yeah.
Hope. The other path was Morgan. He's over here tripping out still, seeing Henry with a hole right here or a bite mark in his neck.
Yeah.
And at this point, they figured out that Morgan is off his meds, and some.
Off.
Yeah. When they go on their separate ways, Morgan's literally going towards the herd, and this doesn't even faze him. Dude's crazy right now.
He's in that whole. He's crazy Morgan when he was telling Rick, I'm going to clear them all. Yeah, it was like, my job's to clear them all.
Yeah.
That's why he kept, when he kept saying, I don't die. I don't, that's exactly, that. I was like, oh my God, we've gone back freaking 6 seasons.
Yeah. And more on that in a minute. So Rick is at the house. He talks with Michonne, and he sees Michonne's like reading her letter, and she's crying. And he gives her a little touch on the shoulder, I think it was. And she pleads with him, talks to him, and about doing it for Carl, because that's what was one of his last acts, and he would want him. Like, does this scene do anything for you? And strengthen their bond, show that they're still connected, anything like that?
No, it just showed Rick is not giving a shit what she's saying. Because that whole spiel, he wasn't listening to her. He was so tunnel vision. It's like, I appreciate the fact that Michonne was like, hey, you really got to get out of this funk. And, remember, this is not what your son wanted for you. And I'm still here. And he was like, whatever.
She even mentions Andrea and how Andrea brought her out of that position. And now it's her turn to do it for him. I think it's good to see this because it truly means, like, regardless of what's happening, even like Michonne truly does like love him, he loves her. Like they're in love, and he's gonna forego this part because he just lost his son.
Yep.
And he tries his best for probably 3 minutes.
Yeah.
To try to come to terms with something, but he can't. So he goes and he threatens the one nice prisoner. He gets some information, and so he heads out on the road. These prisoners,
and he also makes that false promise.
yeah. Well, he says I can, I took it as more of a sarcastic response to him. Yeah, I could do that, but I'm probably just gonna do what I want, kind of thing. You know?
Yeah.
Well, he says he asks him, Rick, or he said, I don't even remember if he says his name. He goes, hey, can you not kill any more than you have to?
Yeah.
Which is not a bad request. I mean, come on, you just kill the dude with the long hair, right?
That's how I would have been focused.
Yeah. So he goes out looking for these guys. He actually runs into Morgan. He can tell Morgan's like literally off his meds because Morgan does not recognize Rick. Just like
I was waiting for him to stab Rick in the throat the way he's like.
Yeah,
he's not letting up.
It's just like he was a few seasons, however many seasons ago, when he was. And it's like, this is what I've been saying all season. I'm getting tired of Morgan being like this. We thought he'd gotten over this, and he's still.
I started to think about this, especially during this episode. I think they did this to us purposely with him this season, because everybody knew that there's this crossover coming. We don't know what time frame Morgan's going to be in the crossover, like what time frame he like how batshit is he? Is it current time to the Walking Dead as it is now? Because a lot of the trailers have been teasing that. They've been showing snippets of all of Morgan, and that shouldn't be the case. Yeah. So, depending on how batshit he is, I think they did this to force us to remind us that, hey, Morgan's not always been so sane or so clear speaking, and we're just going to turn him batshit crazy so you remember.
Well, here's the thing: is we do know, sticking on the Fear of the Walking Dead, we do know it's after he learns Aikido.
Yeah, but if we think about that, and I thought the same thing because I kept seeing issues with the stick, but then again, the way he's dressed in some other ones, it felt like it was even before he met up with Rick. So I'm like, so there's, it's not set in stone.
I'm pretty. So. I would put money that it's after.
Well, you can put money on it because from what I've seen, it doesn't say what time frame.
It's after he learned Aikido, and it's before he got to Alexandria. It's somewhere
they show messages. They show snips of him current day with the armor on and shit like that, and I'm like, whatever. It is what it is. So I'm not holding my breath.
I do think that they are trying to manufacture the Morgan storyline right now, and to me, it's like
because that messes up if it's that far in advance after Morgan learns Aikido that they put the Fear of the Walking Dead, they advance that years from where season 2 left off. Heading at the end of season 2.
Season 3.
Season 3, because at the end of season 3, it should just be when everybody's heading into the prison. I'm talking about as far as time frame, yearly time frame. Yeah, everybody should just be making the prison.
In season 3 of Fear the Walking Dead, they're all split up right now. But I don't know. It looks like it's after Aikido. But I do think, like you're talking about, like they are manufacturing Morgan to bring him back just because they're trying to. I don't know. It seems to me and that there are some issues that are going on that are below the surface that we'll talk about in a minute. So Morgan realizes it's Rick. So then they go on their vendetta spree to find those guys. They see a couple arms and legs hacked off. So right there, my mind is thinking, they did the whole, I got bit, cut off the arm thing. Then they get taken out and tackled and knocked out, and they are captured by the guys. The guys are contemplating, letting them free and going back because they wake up and they tell them, hey, a herd's coming. Let's let them free. Let them take us back to Hilltop. We really didn't want to go. It was a spur of the moment kind of thing. Yep. But then the dude with the long hair is saying, you guys are stupid. And he actually knew better. Rick promises he's not going to do anything that you come back with us.
Yeah.
And he lives up to that promise for about 10 seconds after they let him out. And then him and Morgan just go crazy and start killing.
Well, to be honest, Morgan did a lot of the talking to them because he starts screaming. Everybody changes.
Everybody turns.
Yeah, and that's, of course, that as loudmouth as he was, I don't understand how the herd moved up on them that quickly without them hearing them.
You know what I thought of when he yelled that?
Yeah. I expected Carol. For some reason, I was like, maybe, and I kept telling Susan, I said, maybe Carol found him and then wrapped around to go after Morgan, bypassing the herd, and with him yelling, she's going to spray the guys down. That's what I thought would happen. But that herd, man, they're like fucking ninja.
Dude, when he was screaming that or talking really loudly, whatever, I was thinking, tainted meat, tainted meat. That's what I was thinking right there. I was like, he's doing like the same type of thing. What did you think about this whole scene where they let him free and the slaughter of the prisoners, the POWs, and the death scene for long-haired asshole?
Okay, long-haired asshole is about time he got it, and he got it awesomely, well deserved.
Yeah. I like how Morgan was just holding him like
yeah, he's like, let go, just please let me go, and he's just like, nope, not this time.
Yeah,
but everybody else, it was senseless. I did not care for both Rick and Morgan turning this way. I think this like belittles Rick's character because we see him as the one who does overall good for the whole, and these guys were fully on board to follow him through, to go after anything he wanted. They were ready to play ball to what he wanted from them. And he mercilessly butchered them. And that's not in Rick's character. If somebody from the outside who just started watching the show sees this episode, they think, well, Rick's the motherfucker in this show. Which would make perfect sense because we're seeing it as we've seen it. We've seen Rick from the beginning.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't care for it.
This is the part where we were talking about earlier is that, we were reviewing what we were going to talk about. Is like I said, Rick is enabling Morgan to be all off of his meds. And Rick at this point is gaining to the point where he's like, after everything was said and done in this fight, he's like, damn, I just killed, because he stands around right there and he's like, I get that to me, it's like he's taking it all in, that he just killed a lot of dudes that were surrendering and just saying, hey, look, we want to try to be better. And then he even asks Morgan, why did you save me?
Yeah.
And why did you save me? It's like he's looking for a reason. He needs that reason to get himself out of this funk almost. And to me, that's the story they're trying to tell us. Whether it's, we both talked about it previously because before Carl dies, Rick was totally looking for the future.
Yeah.
And then they said that they killed Carl so he could bring Rick back. Bring him back for what? He was already looking to the future. We talked about this.
Yeah.
So Carl's death put him on a path, and I think the writers and all this, there's some issues again behind the scenes.
I'm hoping that the Rick Morgan thing becomes divided because, to be honest, I didn't see Rick enabling Morgan. I saw Rick using Morgan, so he could do what he wants and not feel the guilt all by himself.
I don't think he was enabling him in the sense that, like, hey, I'm gonna enable him to kill more people so he can feel happy.
I saw him as using Morgan at Morgan's the most weakest he's been.
Yeah, and I'm not a person who enables somebody else to do something not necessarily doesn't think of it saying, hey, I'm gonna go enable this person so I can drink.
Yeah.
It just happens by association with what they're trying to do. I'm saying. Yeah. This situation. I think it did make Rick realize though, like, holy cow, I'm like freaking doing some gnarly ass stuff right now, and I don't know if I should be doing this. Like, tell me I'm worth saving. Please tell me why you saved me. Tell me that there's still humanity left in you and me. Why I'm worth it. We get back to the house. I don't know if you want. There's still the other section of thing we got to talk about.
Right.
But we get to the house, and it shows Rick coming out of the shower, and he decides to finally read his son's letter, Carl's letter, and I think he takes it looks like he's taking it all in, sad, crying, or whatever he's doing, and we'll see where it goes next week. Do you think he's going to take it in and try to make a change from this point on?
I hope so, because right now I don't like Rick at all. I don't. I see, and to be honest, in comparison to the conversations, and we'll talk about Negan and Jadis a little bit, the conversation that he has there in comparison to how Rick acts in this episode, it's vice versa. I saw Negan as the good person in this episode, and I saw Rick as the son of a bitch who needs to be put down.
I think for me the best way to describe it is that on a regular basis, Negan has the crazy moments playing that character on a regular basis, while Rick goes to severes and
to keep it in
after something severe happens to him, like his son. But Rick is able to do just as much bad as Negan is. It usually just takes something really big to happen to Rick.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
That's kind of what we saw, and we'll get into this now, is the whole Jadis and Negan thing with this episode. We got a lot of conversation dialogue from them. We got to see a different side of Jadis, and maybe... I mean, we're in the freaking apocalypse. I don't know how much stuff you can have in your room, but her room is pretty minimalistic.
That's an awesome little room, though.
It is.
And that's inside a cargo container.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice damn room, and it's pretty simplistic. To me, it says, like, I bet that she was something like this in the previous life.
Yeah.
Something like this. This was some kind of aspect of it.
I also thought that maybe if she has something like this, I'm pretty sure everybody else had something along the same lines, and maybe this is like a village of people who like to live in small homes, because that's the craze now. Because this is what I thought of. It was like small home living, tiny homes,
square feet.
Yeah, because this is exactly what it was. So
yeah.
Because there's still a lot to that area, the heap, that still needs to be discovered. And a lot more questions popped up in this scene specifically than anything else that's happened in the last 3 or 4 episodes.
Yes. Okay, so let's move on and we'll get into that. Exactly. Yeah. The next major thing is the conversations with Negan. She tries to intimidate him with the bat. I thought it was really bad acting on her part, because she's trying to do something that's so unnatural, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like with something that you get full force going. I was like, why even put that in there?
Yeah.
Just have her hit the ground next to his head, you know what I mean?
Oh no, when she took it to his nose, I was like, whoa, that's control. That's some serious control.
I thought it was I thought they could have done it better. I felt like it wasn't the best acting in that moment. But she's mad, she's got so much anger towards him. But he's also telling her during these conversations, like, hey, like, you want to tell me what happened here? Because I really don't know.
Yeah.
I trusted somebody to do one thing, and this happened, and I don't know what it is. And there's a moment in there where, and we talked about this as well, to me it's piss poor directing or whatever. She's sitting on her suitcase, and it's a good 5-6 feet, I guess, away from Negan. That she walks around the corner, Negan moves his feet and goes in this direction to the straight by his feet, like parallel, but then the suitcase is to the right, perpendicular from him, and somehow they come back to the scene and he's still 4 or 5 feet away from the suitcase, yet he now has pictures and a gun and his hands are undone. And we both said this, and we're like, what the hell did we miss?
Yeah, because I thought I walked away from something. I'm like, wait, where did he get the lip? And first of all, for him to light the flare while still tied up.
Yeah, because how do you put your hands?
Yeah.
Like that. You have to. All right. I to me that's bad directing.
No, that's bad editing.
Bad direct. Well, no, bad directing, because they should have set the scene better. The suitcase should have been sprawled out on the floor with everything astray, and it wasn't. And I was just like, after I said I fast forwarded and got to that scene, and I was like, that's some bull crap right there. Terrible direction. But while this is all happening, he has the flare. She says some words that says, you took all of
all of me.
You took everything that I had, and you took all of me. And he finally drops his guard and lets us in on the sweeter, softer side of Negan.
This pissed me off, though.
Apparently, he named his homicidal bat.
Yes, which
after his wife's name.
In the book, I don't know if you're up this far, because he does reveal it in the book, but it's not until after the bat's broken in a battle with the Whisperers, and he buries it. like a person, and he gives it a little, cross, wooden cross and what have you. And he finally lets out why the bat means so much to him. And this pisses me off because you know how when we first mentioned the garbage people, we kept referring to them how similar they are to the Whisperers outside of not using the zombies.
Yeah.
But so they're really condensing a whole ton of not only years and stuff into this one little scene, but I mean they're fast projecting to wherever. I have no clue because I don't know where they're going from this with Negan, because Negan has to develop a lot more. There's still a lot of stuff that has to go on between him and Rick, because it has to be him and Rick now because Carl's gone, and all this other stuff, and to build that relationship where he can tell this story, because who he tells the story is obviously to Rick, but this pissed me off because I felt like this was just shortening the lifespan of the show.
Do you think, and this is not talking about like what we're thinking about the scene, but what you're mentioning, that's what I've been feeling as well. Do you think they're doing this so they can get to a point in the series, or a point in the show where they're not basing anything off of the book?
I think right now they're at that point.
They're really trying to get there.
Yeah, they're at that point.
They don't have to listen to the book anymore.
Because we have, what's her name, and the other two women that they introduced that talked to the ladies from the hilltop just 2 episodes ago.
Oh, yeah.
Mentioning other communities. That which is not in the books, at least as far as from where I'm at. And, the other thing that is mentioned during the Jadis and Negan thing was the helicopter, like why she had the flare lit.
Yeah, and there was a helicopter, and we talked about it a couple episodes ago. Simon said, "What was that? Is that a helo pad?
Yeah.
You got back there?" And so apparently, this helicopter has some connection to the Heapsters.
Yeah, she
used it as an escape. That this is her, like she's leaving this dump to go wherever this helicopter was. I'm assuming it might be another group that she might have been with previously, or maybe it's from the group with the lady from.
That's exactly what I was thinking, because I'm thinking because the Heapsters were really well off.
Yeah,
and if anybody could feed this woman records, it would be them, because they have garbage.
Yeah.
So, heads hidden helipad. They get all their supplies through her. They're in their little circle. They're not bothered, and then whatever they keep on trucking like nothing. So that's where I think it is. I think that helicopter belongs to the same community, or maybe one of the offshoots that still deal with this main community that we just met.
Well, they could go a lot of different ways. I want to see what happens. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Jadis and Negan wrap up their thing by Jadis letting him out after he tells him about his wife dying and getting him through everything and naming his bat after her.
I have one question, though.
Yeah.
The zombie. How in the holy hell was that zombie supposed to get Negan?
So, did you watch The Talking Dead afterwards? They said that the hinge is bent forward, so when she hits a latch, it falls forward on the person lying down.
Okay,
so the face would be like on his stomach, gnawing at his stomach.
Because I saw it like that, and I'm like, okay, and its jaw was that much, it was like way higher than where he was laying. I'm like, how's that going to fall?
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. They did a bad job of that whole editing in that scene, and the sound was terrible in that scene as well. Because right off the bat, when Negan had the gun and everything, you didn't realize what was happening, because when she's pushing the cart was louder than the gunfire. Because I literally watched it right before we were able to finally get this working, and he shoots his gun one time, and I barely heard it. I was like, oh shoot, I didn't even hear that the first time. That whole scene was edited terribly. It was directed terribly. Negan's showing his softer side. He's quilted northern or something. I mean, that's cool and all. I like seeing it. Like seeing him some humanity. Maybe this is promising for the future. But I just think the scene was directed badly and edited badly, shot badly. Sound was bad. It could have been so much better.
Yeah.
So they end. Negan goes on his way and says, "Maybe I'll come back and check on you." one of these days. So we're at this point now, and I wanted to mention it earlier, but now that we've kind of talked about this whole episode and some of the things we mentioned I mentioned and I brought it up when we first started this season, is that they changed the showrunner. Scott Gimple got a promotion, quote unquote a promotion, but really he got taken off as showrunner because there was supposed strife and issues because ratings were severely going downwards. So they have a new showrunner now.
Yeah, it's not helping.
And I don't think it's helping at all either. And you and I both are saying that we feel like they're trying to speed this thing up and in the future stories and put them all into one season, but at the same time they're neglecting the main story that's right in front of them.
Yeah,
with the war, they're doing not they haven't been doing this whole season 8. They have not been doing a good job of getting to the point where anything is. Each episode doesn't.
It doesn't. Especially we got.
Still got to mean something, and it still doesn't mean anything.
And there's no. Like, we're supposed to be ramping up to the end of this season. We're 2 episodes out right now after this episode. And yes. I feel like none of the little, except for, us finding out how Carl got bit, that's the only thing that was resolved. Everything else has been inching along to no finality. Every episode has had, once again, this one left nothing to, I felt like that, come on, guys.
This episode, I told you this before, is that this episode, it got me pretty like relaxed and bored at sometimes, and I had to rewind and we watch a couple segments here and there. And the thing is, like, this is not going well in my mind with whoever I don't know if it's Denise, if it's Huth or whatever her name is, or if it was some other person who's the showrunner now. But I don't think that's going well. I think they got to work on the dialogue as well, because as for a while I said it seemed like a lot of Rick's characters are all kind of just sounding the same, and same with Negan's, people, they're just kind of all sounding the same. And every now and then you'll have an episode where it seems like they're finally giving someone back to their character of who they are, like Michonne or whatever, or whatever the case would be. And they need to get back to the point where this show is character driven, and the characters on the good guys don't always sound like just plain old good guys. They need to have their personalities. So we're losing that. We're losing other things. Where are we going in the future? We're both talking about this right now. Are they just trying to get away from the books and get to a point where they're just telling their own stories now? I don't know.
I hope they're consulting. I hope Kirkman's not really just sitting back saying, "Do whatever you want. I'm getting the checks for it," because that would be fucking disappointing.
Like Spielberg is an executive producer on 10 movies a year.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm sure he did. He actually had a hand in maybe one of them, right?
And the other, is
just like,
no matter what, this is Kirkman's baby, and I'm hoping there's some things he still says no to.
I hope so as well. So. But we already learned that there's been things that he's totally okay with already.
Yeah.
So next week's episode, what do you want from next week's episode? It's called next one is Worth, or is it Wrath? It's Worth.
It's
next
Worth.
Week. Yeah, with the threat of the Savior still looming, Aaron continues searching for allies. Daryl and Rosita take action and confront an old friend. In the scene that they tease us with, you see Aaron looks like he is beat to hell, right? And he created this little funnel thing to get some rainwater, so he's thirsty, and he started killing some zombies. And in the teaser, what did they show us in the preview for next week? Is it this bad that we're forgetting the previews, like, of what's next week?
Dude, I don't even remember. I remember seeing it, like, leading up to Talking Dead, and then I'm like, blank. All I know is that when I was grabbing the picture for this episode for us to use, I saw the sneak peek that was on the website, and it showed Eugene in the bullet factory telling everybody, hey, and he's eating whatever he's fucking eating, and he's telling them, chop, chop, you guys got to move, because there's, even though Negan's not around and Simon is taking over, he wants his bullets a lot faster, and we're not gonna make it.
So okay, we forgot something. Now, thank you for mentioning that. So at the end of this episode, after Negan leaves Jadis, he finds a car, and he starts driving, and he finds somebody on the road.
Yeah.
He gets back to the place, and he says, "Oh, they're like, oh, you're alive." He's like, and don't you tell anybody I'm alive. I'm gonna stir some shit up in here right now.
Daddy's home, but it's gonna be a big surprise.
At that point, like I said about Negan, is that he's crazy on the regular because he plays that character. He like flipped the switch and was totally back in Negan mode.
Yeah.
Rick
But my point, what pisses me off, who do you think he's got in that car with him?
Okay, it's weird. I know this doesn't even sound right, but it looked like a woman to me with a ponytail, with black hair.
So
when they showed a camera from the passenger side. So I'm wondering who it is. I'm wondering if maybe it's Sherry, Dwight's wife, because remember she ran away.
There's no way she would still be alive, because I'm thinking back when Dwight went to their spot that they were supposed to meet up with the chips.
She left him the beer or whatever.
Yeah, and she was gone.
Maybe she was lingering around for the last month.
That'd be such a cheap plot point.
Well, what if it is? If I freaking Nostradamus?
No, you know what? That means you're a bad show writer like these guys are to bring back, because that's not surprising enough.
No, it's
you know
not.
What I mean?
No, to be honest with you,
and the way they showed his face, he was like, "Whoa, well, holy fuck!"
Like he knows the person.
Yeah.
And so when they showed it from the passenger side, I was thinking that kind of looks like Tara. You don't get to see the face, right?
You don't see anything.
Yeah, well, you can see right here the back part and the ponytail, and I was like, that's dark hair, almost like Tara. But I was like, but he doesn't. He knows Tara, but he doesn't really know Tara. So why would he act like that, right? So it's not Tara.
No, he had the conversation about killing the girlfriend. He makes a snide comment when they were one of the times when Negan visited. You know.
Yeah, maybe, but
yeah.
I don't know who else it could be though. Like, who would it be that he's catching on the side of the road? Any of the Hilltoppers? Are they still out and about? You know?
I don't know. I have no clue.
What if it's the person that ran away, the girl that ran away, when Dwight turned on them and shot them and killed them? Remember, it was a female.
That could be. It could be her.
Because remember, he asked Dwight what happened,
and it's the only person that saw Dwight turn on them.
Yes, and so I do remember part of the trailer for next week is part of it. He does he comes down the stairs, talks to Dwight for a minute, like, "Hey, I'm back. What's up, yo?" And then I don't remember much else too, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because the clip on the website has to do with Eugene and the Bullet Factory.
Okay, so it's probably not Sherry. It's probably that girl.
Yeah.
It's probably that girl. The Sherry's long gone. Good.
Yeah, because that would have been cheap. All I want is some conclusions to shit, and actually admit that you're not going to fucking pull this over into the following season, because if you do, that's going to piss me off.
Well, okay, let me read. Okay, so next week, like I said, I read that one. The last episode of this season is called Wrath, and it reads as this: the communities join forces in the last stand against the Saviors as all-out war unfolds. It says the last stand. They better not be dicking us around with this thing.
They're gonna be.
If you say the last stand, it better be goddamn last stand.
Watch, it'll be just like when they first introduced Negan. That they gave us that camera shot of Lucille, and then they cut until next season. They'll do some bullshit like that. And they right now they don't care about pissing off the audience. You know that.
Please. I don't have any other hour-long shows that I watch that I pay this much attention to, because Game of Thrones isn't back until next goddamn year. So don't do this to me.
Late next year.
Please don't do this to me. Any last thoughts, Lynn?
Get your shit together.
Or we can use the Ubisoft.
Yeah, fix your shit.
Shit.
Come on, Walking Dead, fix your shit.
All right, guys. So that's it for this week's episode of Walking Dead Review. Make sure you join us on Thursday for the podcast. It's gonna be lots of fun. Hopefully, we'll get Brendan back. We don't know. We'll see if he gets off work early enough for us. If he could devote some time for us. He almost had him last week.
Almost.
He said he wanted some help with some things. He wanted someone to do a reach around on him, but it didn't. None of us volunteered, so it didn't happen. Like, screw you guys. I'm gonna go help my dad.
Yeah.
But yeah, join us for the podcast. Join us next week before we start off on the last 2 episodes of The Walking Dead. Check out everything else we got going on. Any the other new videos that we put it up on the YouTube page, and check out our Twitter, and that'll get you all the links you need and everything else. And for Lynn and myself, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
aka Geeks.